And welcome to Devils TV. Now, I've got a very special guest today in Charlie from Chelsea Fan TV or Two Blues TV. So let's just get right into this video. So obviously, Charlie is a Chelsea fan, and we'll just break up with the most recent news, which is Mason Mount to Manchester United. So, Charlie, I'll ask you first with this. Obviously, we've just spoke a bit about backstage, but with Mason Mount possibly going to Manchester United, what is your full opinion on this possible transfer?
Firstly, mate, thanks for having me. Appreciate as always. Yeah, look, it's something that's been rumbling on for a long time. Mason Mount's contract saga at Chelsea. It's been going on for months and months, but I always thought, I think a lot of Chelsea fans maintain that the club and Mason would find some way of agreeing a compromise to stay. Now, of course, we don't know what the full details are. Is it money? Is it length of extension? Is it image rights? Is it down to other bits and pieces? Because I feel that like someone that loves the club, has given so much to Chelsea in his time here, instrumental in the Champions League run, instrumental in a lot of our most recent success, back-to-back club player of the year at Chelsea. He's proven he can do it at a top level. Look, he's had a dreadful season this season. There's no two ways about it. He's really struggled. He's not lived up to the expectation of the previous seasons and the standards that he'd set himself. And one could argue that under Tuchel, he massively overachieved. And now we're seeing the actual level of Mount, or you could just put it down to having an off season. He's played so much football. He's still only 24 years of age. A bit like Marcus Rashford. Shocking season last season at United. Now he's come back into form and he's looking like his old self again. Players are allowed to have a bad season. It doesn't make you a bad footballer. So I just feel that something's clearly gone horribly wrong if a lad that's been here since, I think, 6 years old at Chelsea has come through the ranks, loves the clubs, loves the fans, that he's leaning towards wanting to go. And I'm more than happy to be wrong on this, but I simply can't believe it's just down to money. Because if he really wanted to stay at the club, then he would sign on a compromise. Now, look, Mount's one of the lowest paid players at Chelsea. I think he's still on 80k, which obviously to sort of fans and that is a ridiculous amount of money. But in footballing terms, it's a pittance, particularly at a club like Chelsea. Obviously, when you look at the likes of Loftus-Cheek on double that money, Kepa, Azpilicueta, etc. Mount's contributed way more than these guys have. So I can fully understand why he would want to have a pay rise. He definitely deserves it. I don't think any Chelsea fans can argue that he doesn't deserve a pay rise. And I think he'd be a top player under Pochettino. I think he's someone that Pochettino could get to work well. Obviously Poch likes to press. His teams are fit. Mount runs about. He's got great work ethic, great work rate. I could see him doing something similar to what Poch done with Dele Alli. Perhaps not as many goals and perhaps hasn't quite got the skill that Ali had, but coming in off that right side in the front line or whatever system Poch decides to deploy. So I think Mount could be a really good squad player for Chelsea still. Ticks one of the homegrown quota boxes as well, which is quite hard to fill in modern day squads. And yeah, I just think it would be a massive shame. Of course, like Chelsea will carry on. Chelsea will move on from Mason Mount. Other players will come in and it will soon be forgotten about. But I think it would just leave a massive bad taste in the mouth that this has happened because it could have so easily been avoided.
Yeah, and that's just a brilliant explanation of what you've just addressed about Mason Mount there. But Ryan, I'm going to guess that you're a Manchester United fan, and welcome to the channel. But he's saying a massive no to Mason Mount. So obviously, like you said, Charlie, that Mason Mount's a quite divided player in your fan base. I'm kind of feeling the same reaction from Manchester United fans from this most recent news, that Mason Mount is a player where some fans like him and some fans don't want him. So I feel like Mason Mount's a decent player, and I did make a video yesterday talking about one player I would sign from every single Premier League club, and Mason Mount was the one I chose from Chelsea. Now, I was thinking about Enzo Fernandez or João Felix, but for me, I feel like that they've still not proven themselves enough in the Premier League. I know Mason Mount's played well in Premier League, and I know I do see it. I agree with you that it is kind of an off season. I mean, look at Marcus Rashford last season. You've already made that analogy and comparison. So I do feel like Mason Mount is a very good player. It just really depends for me on what Erik ten Hag wants from Mason Mount, because I don't think he can play that number 8 role, which is, I think, a position Manchester United are crying out for. So unless he came in as the Bruno replacement or a Bruno, let's have a Bruno rotation player. I just feel like that it's a tough transfer to make, because with the reported fee of being £55 million, I feel like if he's being brought in as a rotation player, I think that's a lot of money to be spending in that criteria when United need to strengthen striker, midfield. And I feel like this Mason Mount, if he was to be a rotation option, he'd go somewhere like City, for example, because they've got like so much rotation for every single position. If Everton's got a plan for Mason Mount, then I'm all for it. But if it's actually down to bringing him in as a number 8, I will be a bit concerned. But I back what Erik ten Hag says. But Ryan also in the comments saying that when the going gets tough, you see your true characters. He hasn't took any responsibility. Now, Charlie, I'll ask you what you think on that. But for me, I would say that this comment relies more to a player like Maddison. I do feel like that if Mount had, I mean, he's been injured, was it twice this season? Mason Mount.
So much. Yeah, he's missed so much football this season, particularly the second half of the season. Like he's just been, he's barely played. So the last time he played was a second leg against Real Madrid. He come on as a sub, but before then he was out for a good couple of months or so. Yeah, he's hardly featured this second half of the season. But what I would say is that, like, having followed Chelsea for a number of years, having go to home and away every week, one thing you can't accuse Mason Mount of is not taking responsibility and not giving 100% every time he puts a Chelsea shirt on. He might not perform well, he might frustrate people, but he will always give 100%. He's the right character, he's the right attitude. So for sure, like, look, you can say many things about Mount, but you can't question his character and his commitment to the club when he's on the pitch.
I mean, I think that you've just hit the nail on the head there. I feel like fans like to criticize players for not delivering enough at times, but when you go down to their actual character as a player and how they never give up, that's the kind of true characters that you do want. Maybe they're not performing on the pitch at the time, but as long as they're giving 100% effort and you just know they're going through a bad run of form, and you've actually seen them at their top class form, then you know that it's probably just a bad patch at the moment. But Simon Davis comments as well, maybe it's the way things are going at Chelsea, no offence, but they need to shape up. Now, Charlie, obviously this is the first time we're speaking, but I could probably understand your frustration, but what is your actual opinion on Todd Boehly's ownership this season? Obviously he's opened the checkbook and bought you a lot of players, but sacking Tuchel, bringing Graham Potter, and then sacking him, it's just a bit of a mess, really, isn't it? That's how I see it as an outside perspective, but you might have a different opinion to mine.
Look, I think he's come in. The first thing to say is that the takeover had to be rushed through due to conditions outside of the club's control. You look at takeovers, and they take a long time. Newcastle, best part of the year. The current takeover saga at United has been dragging on for months and months and months. This had to be rushed through in a space of a few months, and I don't think people understand how difficult and how much is involved in a takeover, how much upheaval there is, how many changes have to be made. And when you're at Chelsea, when you've got all the guys coming in that are new to the job, are learning on the job, that transition is going to take some time. There was no sporting department in place. Boehly had to essentially act as an interim sporting director over last summer. He was jetting up all over the place trying to form relationships with various different clubs. He took on too much, but he had to, because we didn't have the football department in place. And I think the thing is, obviously, when a new ownership comes in, you want to bring your own people in. You want to make the changes that you want to do. But I think a mistake that he's made is that he's tried to change too much too quickly. I don't necessarily disagree with too many of the decisions he's made. Like Tuchel going, whilst we loved him here, things have been on the slide for a while, and you could sense that the two weren't pulling in the right direction, and the visions didn't align. And no matter how good a manager are, if your vision doesn't align with the owner's vision, then unfortunately you have to go. I think the bigger mistake than the sacking Tuchel was to replace him with Graham Potter, because that change happened so quickly. Tuchel was gone within 48 hours. Graham Potter was in, done. Now I want to know who, but with a lack of a footballing department, who was advising Todd Boehly on Graham Potter, because Graham Potter, no disrespect to Potter, but I highly doubt Todd Boehly knew who Graham Potter was. Like, I just don't think that would have happened. So I don't know what the thinking was there or who advised him on that. But that decision happened very quickly. I thought Potter would be a good choice for the club. It's something very different to what we've normally done. Normally in the last 20 years, we've always just gone for a proven winner, trophies on the CV. But going in a different direction, looking for something longer term. But Potter was, I feel looking back now, Potter was set up to fail at Chelsea. He was dropped into an absolute mess, an influx of players in January, could never quite get the team together. Look, the job, I think, was too big for him. He didn't act like a Chelsea manager. The way that he spoke at times, he spoke like he was still at Brighton, with some of the comments that he was making after games. Didn't always carry himself or conduct himself as a Chelsea manager, and that change is difficult. Going from a club like Brighton, who are a fantastic football club, but the media spotlight and the intensity on Chelsea is a different level, and he wasn't used to that. I think he struggled to adapt to that. So whilst he had to go, I again question the timing of the decision. What's the point in removing him with 10 games to go? It's too late by then. We're not going down. We're not making Europe. So it didn't really make any sense to make that change. Obviously, Lampard comes in. Lampard's legend as a player, one of the best ever. As a manager, absolutely shocking. Like, clueless. Has literally got no idea. So the whole season just been a mess. But on Bowley's ownership, I think the intention's there. The football department's in place now. Yes, he's made mistakes, as everyone will when you're new to something and you're doing something for the first time. They're going to make mistakes and they're going to get things wrong. Now the footballing department is in place. Now that he's got a bit more experience himself, hopefully those mistakes will become less, and we'll start to see the club operating on a much more successful level.
Yeah, I agree where you're coming from. I really don't understand the Lampard appointment, to be honest. I mean, he was pretty much relegating Everton. Everton will probably go down because of Lampard, and he only just scraped relegation last season with him. So I really don't understand a team that is as big as Chelsea are. I really don't understand that appointment. But again, like you said, with the appointment, it depends on who Todd Bowley had advising him. But anyway, and Ryan still does talk about Mason Mount, saying better elsewhere. For opinion, I feel like £55 million is very overpriced for Mason Mount, especially with only having 1 year left in his contract. But if he had about 3 or 4 years left in his contract, I'd definitely say that he'd probably be valued at around that type. And Simon Davis as well, saying it's happened to so many players with Pop. I'm getting Pop. So I'm going to say it's going to give me Pop. Sorry, and he says potential moves on. Right, okay. So I think he means that if Mason Mount and goes for new surrounding, he might get a lot better. So we'll look at of that. And Rashford is back. So that is brilliant news, realistically. And for me, it's, well, like I said, it's brilliant news. It really depends on how Erik ten Hag does set up. And does Rashford go straight into the starting lineup? I'm not too sure. But for me, Rashford him being back is very crucial. So, Charlie, how do you feel like Chelsea deal with Marcus Rashford now? I know that Reece James has been injured for a lot throughout this season as well. But is Reece James back? I'm not too sure, to be honest. So, what do you think? How do Chelsea deal with Rashford?
He was ruled out for the season a while back now, so he's not available. Imagine it'll be Trevor Chalobah that plays at right back, or if we go. I mean, at City on Sunday we went with a back five, but Azpilicueta played at right wing back, which was a disaster. He's obviously a legend. We love him, but his legs are gone. Respectfully, in 2023, we can't be going into games playing Azpilicueta as our starter. It just isn't working anymore. So I suspect Chalobah will play on that right hand side. So yeah, I guess it'll be up to him to try and contain Rashford if Rashford starts again. I don't know how long Rashford's been out for, whether he'll go straight back into United's 11 or not. But yeah, I would expect it'll be Rashford or obviously Lewis Hall, depending on which side Rashford does play on. That'll be tasked with trying to contain him.
Yeah, I mean, like Ryan just said, brilliant news for Rashford to be back, but I think bring him off the bench for this one. And for me, I agree with this. I mean, Rashford for the last month now has been consistent with his injuries. He's had about a week off and then comes back. He's back in training. Then he plays the next game. Then doesn't play the next game, and it's basically confusing. So he's been out for about 2 weeks now, and Rashford does seem to be an important player for United, and obviously he's our top goal scorer this season, and it is crucial. And United have been lacking goals, but I do feel that up front at the moment, like I'm not a big fan of Jadon Sancho, but for me, I feel like that when Sancho, Anthony, and Martial are the three, we're a lot more mobile and we do have more chances. But I feel like if you were to change that, the only thing you do is probably put Rashford in for Martial, but I would definitely keep Sancho and Anthony because they are very mobile wingers who do like to create a lot for Manchester United. And as well, saying that, I meant something, but he should come off the bench. Yeah, I knew what you meant, pal. But with obviously Rashford, I do think he's going to be a very important player. But I would probably consider playing him down the middle for this one because I do feel like that is Rashford's best position at the moment. He is our main goal scorer, and I just think he's much better than Martial and Weghorst. But obviously, you just mentioned about Chalobah and the possible formation. A great segment to the video. Are Chelsea underdog? Can you see Chelsea actually earning some points in this game? Because I'm quite confident going into this game, but again, I haven't religiously watched Chelsea all season like you have. So, do you have faith in your team, or do you think that you could lose this game?
There's no faith in this team at the moment. We've been shocking all season, and that's likely to continue. You know, I'd be shocked if we won this game. A point is a possibility. You know, the Chelsea United certainly over the recent years, every game seems to be a draw. It seems to either be 0-0 or 1-1. And we haven't beaten you in the league for a long time now. I mean, I can't remember the last time we beat you in the league. Even when you were under Ole, you know, we didn't win a single game against you during his time at United. I've got no faith in this team. This team have been let down week after week after week. There's no levels of performance. It's totally uninspiring. And, you know, it's just another match that we need to get through until we can get to the end of the season, forget this happened, and then try and regroup in the summer. But yeah, no faith in Chelsea to get anything. I mean, if we were to get something, a point maybe, then we'd have to be lucky. I think you'd have to have a slight off day. We'd have to try and put the ball in the net, which has been a rarity for us. So yeah, Chelsea are fully underdogs, and I don't expect anything than another loss.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's all. I quite respect how realistic you're being, and obviously you're not being a biased fan where you're saying, "Oh no, I feel like we're going to win." Because sometimes you do have to be realistic, especially when your team is underperforming. Now, Chelsea do have a lot of brilliant players, but it's just the chemistry, the actual way the players have kind of let the fans down this season. It is disappointing, and obviously Chelsea. I mean, you won the Champions League literally 2 or 3 years ago. So considering where you are now, it's. But again, though, look at Arsenal. They under Arteta, they've challenged for the league this season. They were out of Europe last season and completely revamped the season, and that's why they started playing really under Arteta. So I expect a redemption arc from Chelsea next season. I definitely feel like with Pochettino in charge, he is known for why Spurs did so well. Obviously, they didn't win a trophy, but Poch did really well when he was at Spurs, and I do feel like he'll get quite a lot of the best form out of certain players. Well, anyway, we'll go on to the predicted 11s now. And for me, obviously, I'll do United, you do Chelsea, and we'll just start off with back three or back four, whatever you think the formation is going to be. But I feel like United are going to set up with our standard 4-2-3-1, and my back five would consist of David De Gea, Diogo Dalot, Lindelof, Varane, and Luke Shaw. What would yours be?
I mean, look, if I'm going with what I think Lampard's going to do, I suspect he'll set up very similar to what we saw at City. So I think it will be a back five again. The three centre backs we only got three to pick from because the rest are injured. So it'll be Silva, Fofana, and Chalobah again in the back three. So I expect it to be that.
Yeah, as well. One of them formations that are tough to break down because I know that when Tuchel was in, you played with a back three, and then obviously you had your wing backs, which were very pivotal. You had Chilwell and Reece James; they were very pivotal to Tuchel's formation. So with this, I really don't understand why these managers have come in and try, like Potter, I can understand, but with Lampard, at this point, he should be going down. I'm not going to do my tactics because it's almost got me relegated with Everton. So I feel like we should just go with what the players are used to. But with whatever formation you do turn up, when you are coming to Old Trafford, that place has been a fortress. And haven't lost a game since the very first game of the season, which was against Brighton when we lost 2-1. So since then, which was the first game of the season, Old Trafford's been an absolute fortress. So United don't seem to lose games often, and like we said, it very rarely that Chelsea do beat United. So a draw is possible, but for a United fans' perspective, quite confident. But going to the midfield now, and for me, I do feel like it will be Casemiro. I do think it will also Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes. But what would your midfield be?
I mean, I suspect. I mean, it's not what I personally go with, but I suspect Lampard will play Enzo. Gallagher, I think, will come in, and he'll probably play Loftus-Cheek as well.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I think that could be the three.
Yeah, I mean, it's got quite a bit of decent cover. I mean, what's happened to Kante? Because I've not really heard much of him recently. Is he injured as well?
He's injured again. Yeah, he picked up an injury a couple of weeks back, so he's out for the rest of the season. Yeah. So yeah, we got okay. It's gonna. Oh, actually, no, I'll take that. I mean, I'd like Chukwuemeka to play, but I can't see him starting, so I think it will be Enzo, Ruben, and Gallagher.
Right. Okay. And finally, we'll just go for the forwards. And for me, I do feel like that Ten Hag will play it safe and go for Antony, Martial, and Sancho, because I do feel like with Rashford being back, obviously United do play a cup final in just over a week now, so you can't risk an injury with Marcus Rashford in this fact. I do start Martial, and recently Martial's played about 60 minutes. So probably take off Martial and bring on Rashford. That's what I would go for anyway. But that's my front three. What would yours be for your forwards?
Well, I mean, I think Lampard's going to go 3-5-2. So we'll have two forwards. I suspect it'll be Havertz and Joao Felix. Sterling's been shocking for us. I mean, Mudryk and Madueke should be playing, but they, like Lampard, I don't think will pick either of them. So I would suspect it would be Felix and Havertz, and then obviously wing backs, which I forgot to mention earlier, will be Lewis Hall, and regressively it's going to have to be Azpilicueta again, which is a disaster. Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure you'll be very excited when Gusto comes and joins you in the summer, because I really want him at United. He's a brilliant fullback, and I feel like he would actually challenge Reece James for that first team for right back. But Lewis Hall as well, obviously, I really like him. I think he's a very decent player. So I feel like that is he only 21, 22 now? So
no, he's younger than that. He's about 18 or 19. I think he's 18 still.
Oh, wow, okay. I don't know what I'm thinking of them, but yeah, I mean, from what I've only seen a few clips of Lewis Hall, and he does seem very decent. He's been called up to the under-21s for England today as well, hasn't he? So
yeah, no, he's been called up.
So it's obviously the future looks looking promising.
He's 18.
Fun part of the show. 18. Wow. Okay. Right. So now we'll go on to the combined 11. So what would you say is your preferred formation? The way to do is would you like to do 4-3-3 or
4-3-1? Yeah, just go.
How would you like to do it, pal?
Yeah, go the 4-3-3. Nice and simple.
All right. No worries. So do it based on form, let's say. Which actually no, we'll do it based on paper, because I feel like with Chelsea underperforming, I feel like that a lot of the players, like I said, are underperforming.
Right.
So for me, I'd say we won't base it on form.
Yeah, I was going to say, we picked it on form. There'd be about there'd be like one Chelsea player in the team probably.
Yeah. So what we'll do is then we'll do it like this. We'll base it on availability. That's all we'll do. So it doesn't matter about form. We'll base it on availability.
Yeah.
So for me, I'll go on. I really liked Mendy last season. I felt like he was really good for you, and especially during the Champions League when he's won it. But I am going to back David De Gea, but I do like Mendy, and I don't know what's actually happened to him. I felt like he was a very good goalkeeper at one point, but he's kind of really dropped off, and I know that Kepa's been playing over him for years recently.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, there's no way that I can sit here and say that the guy, the De Gea that's won the Premier League Golden Glove for the most clean sheets, shouldn't be the keeper in this team. It's a no-brainer. He should be. Kepa's had a good season for us by his standards, but ultimately, he's made mistakes. He's cost us points. Mendy's fallen off a cliff. So, yeah, De Gea is the obvious choice in goal. Nothing else makes any sense.
So,
Mate, what's this piece saying?
Oh, is it there?
Sorry, say that again, mate.
I don't know what's happened here. I think we're back.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I didn't get any of that because you kind of like crackled up a little bit. What were you saying? Yeah, just say that again, mate. What did you say? I didn't quite get it.
No, the internet's fully gone. My God.
No, I can, mate. You're all right. I can hear you now slightly. What were you saying?
Am I back now? I think I am. Yeah. Shit, one sec. Can you hear me, pal? Yeah, right, good. So with this quickly, I'm so sorry about this. With what you call it, combined 11. So we're gonna go for. I'm trying to think now. I'll go for Diogo Dalot. What do you think for the right back?
Sorry. Reece James definitely better right back than Dalot, of course, but we're talking about availability and whatnot. He's not available right now. So Azpilicueta's legs are gone. Chalobah's done well there in recent weeks for us. But yeah, Dalot's form has been superb. So it does have to be him.
Yeah. For me, I would probably go for centre-backs now. But yeah, I definitely agree with if Reece James was available, then I would definitely go for Reece James over Diogo Dalot or Wan-Bissaka. But for me, Diogo Dalot's been the more... it's hard to say, really, because I prefer Diogo Dalot for attacking-wise, but Wan-Bissaka's been the more solid right-back recently. But I feel like that with Diogo Dalot, he's probably the better all-rounder, in my opinion. But yeah, like you said, if Reece James was available, Reece James would be going into this team. My centre-backs would probably consist of... I'm going to go for Thiago Silva and Varane. So what would yours be?
Yeah, no, I think that's probably fair. Yeah, Silva's been immense for us. You know, obviously he's been superb since he arrived at the club. 40 years of age now, and he keeps putting in top performances every week, despite the team not doing well. His level of performance very rarely drops to an unacceptable level. So, yeah, he definitely has to be included. And then, of course, I don't disagree with Varane. Obviously, Martinez could have been a shout to go in as well, but he's unavailable. So yeah, I think Varane makes sense for me.
Yeah, and we'll go to left back. So for me, I'm gonna say Luke Shaw. I do like Malacia, and I do like that Chilwell, and obviously we've just mentioned Hall. But for me, I'd have to say that Luke Shaw has probably been probably the better left back in recent times. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like recent times, yeah, Shaw's done very well. Obviously, he's filled in at centre back as well at times for United, and he's done that quite successfully. I'm a big fan of Chilwell. Obviously, Chilwell's injured. He has been in and out of the side this season. He's shown some good level of performance, but ultimately, you know, he's not available, and Shaw is playing some good stuff at the moment. So yeah, I think he has to go in.
So you wouldn't go for Cucurella, no?
No, he's injured as well anyway.
Oh, is he? Right, okay.
Yeah.
He's not done well for you, have he? But
no,
we'll go into
a difficult season.
Yeah, we'll go for midfield now. So we'll do the midfield three. And for me, I feel like it has to be Casemiro, Enzo Fernandez, and Bruno Fernandes. So that'd be my midfield three. What would yours be?
Yeah, exactly the same. Based on the players you've got available, obviously I'd probably try and get Kante in there if he was fit, but he's not. So yeah, that's kind of that's sort of the best of the rest that we've got left, I think. So yeah, I'd go with that.
Yeah, and finally we'll go for the front three, and mine would actually be Madueke and João Felix and Marcus Rashford. That would be my front three anyway, because I do feel like when Madueke's played, he's looked amazing, and I liked him when before he joined us. And for me, Madueke is a very special and talented player, and it's quite rare to find them right wing, left footed players. I do feel like you've got a very good player in your hands with Madueke, and I do feel like that if you bring Lukaku back or when Nkunku joins you, I do feel like that Madueke should definitely be involved in that starting 11, and hopefully he can progress and get better and better. But that would be my front three anyway.
Yeah, look, I think Marcus Rashford, obviously, you know, I put him in. He's been in great form this season. That's kind of a no-brainer. The centre forward options are pretty sparse for both clubs. You know, we've not got anyone that puts the ball in the back of the net. United don't really either. Martial's so hit and miss. He's rarely fit. Weghorst is just crap in front of goal. So yeah, I mean, I'd go Rashford. Then yeah, I'd probably go Madueke as well, and then. Yeah, I'd probably go Felix also, because Havertz has not really been up to much either. Felix has not been much better, but I just think he's got a little bit more skill, a bit more composure than Havertz does. So yeah, I'd probably go with that front three also.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the way this team's going. We've kind of agreed a lot, so it's pretty enjoyed this video, to be honest, pal. And anyone who is watching and you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and also subscribe to Charlie's. So let me know, the fans and the audience, where we can find you, pal.
Yeah, so basically, obviously, I do a lot of stuff on Chelsea Fan TV. So it's just Chelsea Fan TV on YouTube. And then I've got my own channel as well, which is called Blue Brother. So literally just Blue Brother. Just type that in and it comes up. So yeah, if you want to head over and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Need about 15 more subs to hit 3,000. So yeah, if anyone's tuned in now, they've liked what I've had to say, they just want to help me out, then head over there and click that subscribe button.
Yeah, definitely subscribe to Charlie. He's been absolutely brilliant today. And just before you go, pal, and before we end this stream, we'll go for score predictions. So for me, I do feel like it's going to be a very tight game, but I am going to go for a 2-1 victory to United. But that will be my score prediction. I do feel like that. I'm just going to call it now. I mean, I've already put a bet on it that João Felix does score against us. I just think it's like meant to be because Erik ten Hag wanted him in January. And I mean, you think back to when United played Liverpool at Anfield. Gakpo scored against us. So with João Felix also being a player that Erik ten Hag wanted, I feel like that players that Erik ten Hag wanted have come to bite us in the arse. So I definitely think that'll end 2-1 and João Felix will score for us.
I mean, if he could score a goal, that would be great. But I don't think that. I think we're going to struggle big time. I think you'll beat us 2-0, if I'm being honest. I think it'll be quite comfortable for you. So I'll go for a 2-0 loss for us, which is unfortunate, but we've become accustomed to losing now, so it doesn't really feel too different at the moment. So yeah, 2-0 United I'm going to go with tomorrow.
Right, okay. Well, honestly, pal, thank you so much for joining, and thank you to everyone that's actually been involved with tonight. So yes, everyone, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment and share. And we'll see you all very soon. And obviously, again, Charlie, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it, pal.
No, pleasure, mate. No, pleasure. Right. No problem at all, mate.
Right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Thank you, guys. See you later.